Good morning, Philadelphia, and good morning, NFL fans, to the kickoff of the Philadelphia Eagles 2015 season, where our team travels down to Atlanta to play the Atlanta Falcons on ESPN at 7:10 p.m., the Georgia Dome. We've waited a long time for this moment. Of course, our team going through a lot of changes. Big change with Sam Bradford coming in, Nick Foles coming out, LaShawn McCoy on his way out, Mark Murray on his way in, Maxwell on his way in, and our completely revamped secondary. Now, before we dive in a little deeper with football, as I promised, I sorted through a lot of different videos, and there's a channel, Travel the World, had a really good video this week on Atlanta. It said travel Atlanta, Georgia, USA, a city in the forest. I highly recommend for you just to check that out if you're traveling down to this game as an Eagles fan. It seems like the place to go, the number one spot to go, is their aquarium. So I want to add that. The video is only 3 minutes and 4 seconds long. So I'll put a link on it or show you how to find it. And that will help you experience that area that much better. Let's get into football. That's what this is about. Like I was saying before, we made a lot of changes. A lot of changes. And so has Atlanta. Atlanta changed head coaches. Mike Smith used to be their coach. He was actually pretty successful, but things went south. So Atlanta looked to a successful team and pulled from them. Dan Quinn now used to be the defensive coordinator for Seattle and is now the head coach of Atlanta. Kyle Shanahan used to be the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, with all the mess that they went through, but now he's the offensive coordinator of Atlanta. There's going to be some obvious weapons that we are going to have to deal with. Matt Ryan, of course, growing up in the Philadelphia area, being an Eagles fan, it's a talented quarterback. Regardless of what happens all around, he's a talented quarterback. And Julio Jones, one of the best wide receivers in the league. What makes somebody talented and great or really good is you know that they're good and it's still really hard to stop them. Atlanta did also go out into the draft, most notably drafting Vic Beasley to start trying to solve their defensive woes, because Dan Quinn's coming from the number one ranked defense in the league for like the last 2 years, where Atlanta, I believe last year, might have been the worst team defensively in the league. So what are our keys to the game? With all of our acquisitions and everything that's changed around, what are our keys to the game? I think it's pretty obvious. With what Atlanta wants to do on offense, our secondary that we had to revamp. I mean, think about it. We got rid of both of our corners. We got rid of a safety. We had to bring in Thurman. We had to bring in Maxwell. And right now we're starting Nolan Carroll on the outside. And we drafted Rowe from Utah to play nickel. And we've kept, I think, like 6 defensive backs. That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge, that matchup. Our front 7 has to get to Atlanta. Has to get to Atlanta. No other way about it. Because if you let them get in rhythm, let Coleman run all day, it's going to be very hard, because then play action pass works a whole lot better. But what works in our favor is that the offensive line doesn't seem as talented. Atlanta's defense being the worst in the league last year, you can't expect for a team like Atlanta to stay in the basement like that. They're going to make changes, and obviously they made a huge change in coaching. They're going to make changes in the way they communicate. They're going to make changes in their scheme. They're running a 4-3 under defense right now, playing cover 3, cover 1, and they're just going to flat out play aggressive and challenge the Eagles. That's what Dan Quinn did to the Eagles last year when we played. And yes, I'll note, Dan Quinn's defense beat the Eagles last year 24-14. So, he does know what it takes to beat a Chip Kelly team, but he had to do it with a Seattle defense. How do things change with Atlanta defense? The biggest matchup we have, our Pro Bowl offensive line led by Jason Peters, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, has to control that line of scrimmage and free up our running backs to go against those linebackers. We have 3 good running backs, Mark Murray, Ryan Matthews, and Darren Sproles, to get one-on-one out there and be mismatch problems, especially Darren Sproles. And that one cut back that we were looking for, we now have 2 of them. We're going to see how that works. We have talented wide receivers, but they also have, a Trufant where he can match up with anybody. He's very promising week 1, so I'm not going to say that's our big matchup. So our big matchup, yes, is our running backs against their linebackers, their front 7 against us, offensive line running backs. And of course, we have to mention it, Sam Bradford. That's our key to our entire season. No knock necessarily on Mark Sanchez, but Sam Bradford is our hope. That's our difference. We saw a little taste of that in preseason against Green Bay, but we have to remind ourselves that was preseason, which brings us to game time. That's the biggest part. That's what gets me incredibly hyped. And if you want to start right, every year now for the last couple of years, Eagles website, Fly Eagles Fly, and now YouTube channel, Philadelphia Eagles YouTube channel, has posted our hype video for the season. And I'm proud to say the title and the person saying it fits perfect with what this season is all about. You got to tune in to Philadelphia Eagles 2015, It's Time to Work. And this video is led by our own Brian Dawkins. If you're an Eagles fan, you know who Brian Dawkins is. If you're an Eagles fan, or not even Eagles, if you're an NFL fan, you know what kind of passion and energy Brian Dawkins brings to the football field. I personally am going to start out watching our season and start with that video. And then quiet everything down. You realize that we've made a lot of changes this season. We've realized that we've been through the draft and getting Nelson Aguilar from USC and Rowe from Utah, and what kind of changes we're trying to make with those acquisitions. You realize that we've had training camp and we've talked about the chemistry and the revamped secondary and players playing in the 2nd and 3rd year of the Chip Kelly season. You realize how special things have felt in the preseason, but also you realize that it's just preseason and it still doesn't count. But if you're like me and you're just in the middle of this city here, you also feel the passion, energy, and excitement that is surrounding this season that reminds us a lot of 2004 and potentially to exceed those expectations and goals and accomplishments. Because in the end, none of the talk matters. So now it is time. It's time to kick off our season. It's time to put all the talking aside. It's time to play football. And as Brian Dawkins says, it's time to work. So now it's time to work. Let the love of Philadelphia travel not just this here, but even down to like Cocoa Beach, Florida. Yeah, that's a shout out to you, Coach. So as we do every week down here on Broad Street, go Birds. E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles! Beat Atlanta!